So what is a campaign? It's important to understand what a campaign is, to go on and move on to working on real projects in this internship. So let's get started. An online digital campaign is a way to distribute your message to the world by inspiring people to take action to achieve certain outcomes. Of course, your outcomes that you want. Everything starts with a message that you want to send to the world about your mission. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing what you're doing? There's always a reason behind what you do every day, and it's important to know that reason before getting started. This reason is the backbone to everything you do on this campaign. When you launch a campaign, it's important to determine the general message you're trying to convey to the online world. You have to sit down and decide the fundamental message behind what you're trying to tell people. After determining the message and what you want to deliver to people, it's time to decide your actual outcome. It's very important to do that. Everything happens for a reason, and everything you do should have a reason. Ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish in this campaign? What is it that you want people to do? Determining your outcome before starting helps you organize your thoughts, saves you time, and most of the time helps you simplify what you need to do. You'll realize sometimes that you need to do less work than you think you need to. Once you decide on a message and an outcome, it's time to get to work. Most people get confused with media and where to start. Do I do a video? Do I go on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok? None of them. And not yet. The first thing you need to do is start learning and researching. Learning and researching. Learning and researching. I cannot emphasize that more. Once you determine your message and your outcome, you can spend time researching. Most of the information and storytelling comes from researching, diving deep down, and connecting the dots through learning. So learning how to learn is extremely important. The research first starts with diving deep into the outcome you have, your outcome. Who are you trying to get to? Who is your target market? Your media campaign should focus on one specific target market. Simplicity and selectivity is key to determining and sending your message and getting outcomes. There's many online platforms that teaches you how to develop a target market for your campaign. And each person has their own way of doing it. But the fundamentals are the same, and only one will apply. The more research you do, the more you will understand your target market. The better you will deliver your message, the more outcomes you will get. It's simple. Do your research and dive deep. Now, of course, you can spend a year doing research. The more research you do, the less time you actually have to execute and deliver that message. So you have to find the right balance. You have to know how to be fast to find information and to connect the dots quickly. Depending on the type of media space you're working in, time varies. Sometimes you need to rush, sometimes you don't need to rush. If you're working in a media channel that covers everyday news, breaking news, you have to be fast in your research. Once you actually do your research and you have bullet points and you have resources, now it's time to determine your voice. How do you feel about your message? How do you want people to simply feel about what you're doing? What is the tone? You want to be funny, you want to be sarcastic, you want to be scary, you want to be powerful, you want to be inspirational, angry, sad, informative, positive. It all depends on your outcome. This is the time to decide. Once you understand your target market, develop a voice and know it, it's time to start thinking about the things you want to tell your target market and convince them about your message and convince them to take action. You have to write it down. It's time to sit down, focus, and summarize. Your goal is to educate people to convince them on believing your message and taking action. This is the same thing that you would tell someone if they walk through your front doors and ask you questions about your product or services. What is the one thing or a few things you would tell them and convince them to do that? Of course, this base copy is a story. It has a beginning, middle, and end. It convinces people about why. It convinces your desired target market to take action on a specific topic. The goal here is to keep your base copy in the shortest and most impactful to connect with people. Of course, because you've done your research already about the topic, about the target market, this process will be easier for you. You're basically taking everything that you research and you're putting it in a copy and you're starting the process. This is one of the hardest processes for all people. But once you develop this copy, it will save your life. A very easy way to get copy quickly is to do the why, what, and how method. Why, what, how. Explain to people why you're doing this. Tell them a story. Tell them the reason behind it. Tell them what you are going to do about it. What are the things, the actions that you are going to do about it as a company? Tell them how they can sign up. What is their goal to action? Tell them how they can get started, to get involved. What is your call to action? Once you're done in writing, this is the base copy that you're going to use to send your message. To present the campaign to someone, you can get people to read, listen, or watch. And also, depending on your target market and how you want to deliver it, where you want to deliver it, the length of that message. You want people to read a blog post, or do you want them to read a novel? Do you want people to watch a 1-minute video, or do you want them to watch a 20-minute episode? Do you want them to listen for a full podcast, or do you want them to listen for just a few minutes? You decide. Sometimes, and at this point, you have developed a deep understanding of your target market that you know what is the best way to do so. Of course, the more forms, the better it is. The format of your message depends on your situation and in real life, really how much money you have, time, and resources. Remember, the most important thing is your message. The medium of your message also depends on your target market. If you are connecting with kids, maybe using animation videos is the key. If you are reaching busy people that don't have time to watch and that commute the whole time, maybe a podcast will be a good idea. Maybe you're reaching people that don't have good online access. So writing is the best. It all depends on your research that you did in your target market and how much you know. The more you do, the better you will be at determining the format of your message. Many people think that you need to do all of them, but the key is to focus on one thing and do it very well. Once your message is translated into writing, visuals, or audio, once you develop and add the power of visuals to your campaign, the power of audio, of course, transforming your campaign from writing into audio or visual is about enriching it and increasing your chances of people believing in your message. The more you make them feel with music, with video, with audio, with visuals, the more likely people will take action. Once that's done, once you translate your message into something powerful, it's time to determine the action you want people to take. The action usually can be summarized in 2 simple areas. It's collecting information of people or getting them to make a transaction by purchasing a product or a service, or donating. This exists on your website. This exists with your copy, with your visuals. It follows it. It follows that right away. And it encourages people to take that action right there and then. Then comes distribution. And distribution is simpler than you think. And distribution channels are many. And there are so many ways to distribute content. And there are so many methods of doing so. And we can have a course in every single distribution channel, and we won't be over in a year from now. But the key here is to determine a platform that works for you. And let me tell you something. The more platforms you have, the more formats you have, the better you will be at distributing your message. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's the same message. You're just distributing it through different channels. Through Facebook, through Instagram, through TikTok, through Medium, through hundreds and hundreds of different ways. Distributing your message could be you writing your message on paper and going delivering it to your grandma or your mom. That's distribution. It could be a QR code. It could be a QR code that you print and put in the street. Distribution could be paid Facebook ads. It could be a QR in a magazine or in a newspaper. It could be you sitting in the street talking to people about your message and giving them a card to go to your website. It could be about you just going out there and talking to people, giving them your card and getting them to go visit your website. It could be you telling your friends to take action. It could be anything. But do not mistake distribution with social media and content marketing. Distribution on Facebook, Instagram, and all the mentioned before are just distribution channels, and it all depends on your message and content that exists on your website. And of course, that being followed, once you launch your campaign to the world and start distributing it through the channel, it's important to know that you're not done. Engagement here is key. Do not leave comments unanswered. Answer every single message you get. Build on things. And always have a call to action in your engagement. To go do that call to action you determined before. In your comments and engagement, always push people to go with your call to action. To send them to what you wanted them to do in the first place. I call it squeezing comments. The more you engage with people, the more they'll trust you, the more likely they will take action. The call to action you decided. Engage, chat with people, be nice, be open. Don't forget, this is one of the most ignored processes of social media. Of course, also analytics and tracking. You cannot manage something you cannot measure. From the time you launch your campaign, your process of starting starts immediately. You gotta track all your distribution channels. See what's working, what's not. If you're paying for some ads, where would you put your money? You would put your money on the ads that are performing the best. And if your ads are not performing, and if you're not taking action, then it's time to go back to the drawing board. What is wrong? Is it your call to action? Is it your content? Is it your target market? And rinse and repeat. It's important to understand that each campaign is an error and trial. But it's not like that forever. At the beginning, you're understanding, you're learning, and in a way, you'll always be learning. There's never a perfect campaign. It can always be better. It can always be improved. So, learning from your experiences, tracking, failing, is the most important thing you can do to move forward and succeed at taking action. So in a nutshell, this is what a campaign is. You have a message, you have a determined outcome that you focus on, you have learning about your target market and the ways to reach your people, the people that you want to take action, the people you want to take action on your message, followed by distributing through as many distribution channels you can handle, of course, empowered with engagement and tracking, and the willingness to always improve, do better, and move on to the next campaign that will be better, stronger, and more powerful.